Shri Dashavatar Stotram ki jai, Shri Jai Dev Goswami ki jai, Shri Gita Govinda ki jai, Shri Dashavatar ki jai. Alaya Payogdi Jale Dritavam Nasi Vedam Vihita Vahitra Chaitramate Kesha Vadrita Mina Sharira Jai Jagatisha Hare Jai Jagatisha Hare Jai Jagatisha Hare 2 Shitiriha Vipala Hare Tishtapita Vapushte Dharani Dharanakina Chakra Garishte Kesha Vadrita Kuma Sharira Jagatisha Hare Jagatisha Hare Jagatisha Hare Asati Dashana Shikare Dharani Tavalagna Shashani Kalanka Kaleva Nivana Ishapatrita Shukara Rupa Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Karakamala Varena Kamaduta Shringam Dalita Irana Kashipu Karuvingam Shabadrita Narahari Rupa Jagatisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Jalayasi Vikramane Valima Duta Vamana Paranaka Nirajanita Janapavana Ishabhadrita Vamana Rupa Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Rudhiramaye Jagarabhagata Samayasi Payasi Shamita Bhavatapa Keshavadrita Brigupati Rupa Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Navasi Dikshu Name Dikati Kamaniyam Dashamukam Mali Parim Ramaniyam Keshavadrita Rama Sharira Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Vahasiva Kushi Vishare Vasanam Jaladabam Halahati Piti Milita Yamunamam Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Lachani Vahanidhane Kalayasi Karabalam, Duma Kitimiva Kimapi Karalam, Keshavadrita Kisharira, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Deva Kaveri Ramudi Tamudaram Shinusukadam Shubhadam Bhavasaram Keshavadrita Dashvidarupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Tejamudara Tejakanti Bahate, Bhugolam Bhuvivrate, Daityam Dharayate Balim Chalayate, Shatrashayam Kurvate, Alasyam Jayate Halam Kalayate, Karunyam Vatanvate, Nechan Muchayate Dasakriti Krite, Krishnaya Tubhyam Namah. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Go, 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 Premanande. I'm going to turn it to Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadahmayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Adadana Stridam Dantaridam Dache Puna Puna Shriman Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhuli Syam Janma Janmani Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Sadvatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Namashreshtam Manumapi Shachiputram Atra Swarupam Rupam Tasya Grajam Urupurim Maturim Goshtavatim Radhakundam Girivaramoho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi Hey Guru Gyanadadina Bando Swananda Data Karunaika Sindo Vrindavana Sinatitavatar Prasida Radha Pranaya Prachara Hey Dina Bando Karunaika Sindo Kuru Prasada Mayamanda Mudhe Laksha Parade Bahupapagade Tatpada Padme Stumatishcha Krishne Prata Shriman Navadvipe Dvinetram Dvi Bhujangurum Varabhaya Pradam Shantam Smarit Tannam Purvakam Tvam Gopika Visharaves Tanayanti Kesi Sevadi Karani Karo Nijapada Padme Dasyam Pradaya Kurumam Vrajakanane Shri Radhangri Sevana Rase Sukhinim Sukhabdao Shri Guru Paramananda Premananda Palaprad Rajananda Pradhananda Sevayamani Yojaya Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Tinamine Shri Varshabhana Videvi Dayataya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryo Jwala Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudhapa Siddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gora Kishoraya Sakshad Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambhada Sambhode Padambu Jayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sakchit Ananda Namine Gora Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gora Virbhava Bhaumestvam Nirdesa Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarva Bhauma Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Mahavalanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Goratushe Namaha. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Surupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Suratau Pangor Mama Manda Matirgati Matsarvaswa Padambo Jau Radha Madana Mohanao Divya Vrindaranya Kalpa Durmada Srimad Ratnagara Singhasanasta Srimad Radha Shila Govinda Deva Krishtali Vi Sevya Manu Smarami Shriman Rasadasadam Bhivam Shiva Tatatastita Karshan Venu Swaner Gopir Gopinatha Shriyestunaha 18 Thakur Godeyaki Karyachina Atmasad 18 Eracharan Vandon Tine Moranat Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vande Nanda Vrajastrinam Padarinum Abhikshna Shasha Asam Harigato Gitam Punati Bhuvanatrayam Hantaya Madhur Abala Haridasa Varyo Yadrama Krishna Chanana Sparasha Pramoda Manam Tanoti Sahago Ganayostayo Yat Paniya Suyavasakanda Nakanda Mulai Vrindayai Tulsi Devyai Priyayai Keshavasya Vishnu Bhakti Pradi Devi Satyavatai Namo Namaha Shri Nashinga Dai Nashinga Jai Jai Nashinga Pralada Desha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glanir Bhavati Bharata Apyutanam Atharmasya Tadatmanam Srajamyaham Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Chadushkritam Dharmasam Stapanartaya Sambhavami Yuge Yuge Manmana Bhavamad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mami Vaishyasi Yuktvavam Atmanam Parayanaha Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Braja Ahantam Sarvapapebhyo Mukshayishami Mashuchaha Shushrusho Sharadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanad Shinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantaksto Hibhadrani Vidhunoti Suhritsatam Nashta Praeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Tadara Justamo Bhava Kamalobhadayaschaye Cheta Iter Anavitam Stitam Sattve Prasidati Evam Prasanna Manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate Vidyate Hridaya Grantish Chichante Sarvasangshaya Shiyante Chasya Karmani Drishta Eva Atmanishvare Malihai Kareshe Bijarupana Shravana Kirtana Jale Kareshe Chan Tahan Vishtarita Hoy Pali Prema Pal Ihan Mali Sheche Nitya Shravana Dijal Vairagya Vijaya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shiksharta Meka Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dhari Kripam Budir Yastamaham Prapadye Kalan Nashtam Bhakti Yogam Nijam Ja Pradush Kartum Krishna Chaitanya Nama Avirbhutas Tasya Padarvinde Gadham Gadham Liyatam Chitabringa Ajanulambita Bujau Kanakavadato Samkirtanai Kapitaro Kamalaya Takshao Vishwambaro Dvijavaro Yugadharva Palo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro.
Okay, go back to the slides.
Matsamona asti papatma na paradi chikashchana parihare pilajam me kimbruve purushottama yuvatinam yata yuni yunam cha yuvatau yata mano piramate tadvan mano me ramatam tvayi bhumau skalita padanam bhumir eva valambanam tvayi jata paradhanam tvameva sharanam prabho Govinda Bhalabe Radhe Prartaye Tvam Maham Sada Twadiyam Iti Janatu Govindo Mam Tvaya Saha Radhe Vrindavanadishe Karunamritavahani Kripaya Nijabharabja Dasyam Mayam Pradiyatam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare Bo. We're continuing our reading in the Srimad Bhagavatam. We're at the 7th canto, 5th chapter, Prahlad, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu. And we're taking up at text number 38.
39. Right.
The demons, Rakshasas, the servants of Hiranyakashipu, thus began striking the tender parts of Prahlad Maharaj's body with their tridents. The demons all had fearful faces, sharp teeth, and reddish, coppery beards and hair, and they appeared extremely threatening. Making a tumultuous sound, shouting, "Chop him up, pierce him," they began striking Prahlad Maharaj, who sat silently meditating upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even though a person who has no assets in pious activities performs some good deed, it will have no result. Thus, the weapons of the demons had no tangible effects upon Prahlad Maharaj because he was a devotee, undisturbed by material conditions, and fully engaged in meditating upon and serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is unchangeable, who cannot be realized by the material senses, and who is the soul of the entire universe. Purport. Prahlad Maharaj was constantly and fully engaged in thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it is said, Govinda Parirambita. Prahlad Maharaj engaged himself always in meditation, and thus he was protected by Govinda, just as a small child on the lap of his father or mother is fully protected. A devotee in all conditions is protected by the Supreme Lord. Does this mean that when Prahlad Maharaj was attacked by the demons, the Rakshasas, Govinda was also attacked by the demons? This is not possible. There have been many attempts by the demons to hurt or kill the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he cannot be injured by any material means because he is always transcendence, because he is always in transcendence. Therefore, the words Pari Brahmani are used here. The demons, the Rakshasas, can neither see nor touch the Supreme Lord, although they may superficially think that they are striking the Lord's transcendental body with their material weapons. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is described in this verse as Anirdeshye. We cannot understand him to be in a particular place, for he is all-pervasive. Moreover, he is Akhilatma, the active principle of everything, even material weapons. Those who cannot understand the position of the Lord are unfortunate. They may think that they can kill the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotee, but all their attempts will be futile. The Lord knows how to deal with them. There's a similar way in which people who are materialistically oriented try to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But because the senses are imperfect, although we may have a microscope, the microscope is made of atoms. Therefore, you can't see anything that's more subtle than that, and more subtle than atoms, that is. And similarly, I can't see the back of my eyelid because it's too close. And similarly, we can't see things that are far away. And the mind, although it's very subtle, is as material as a pile of rocks. And with a pile of rocks, you cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only by the mercy of the Lord, when one performs devotional service, can he exercise his prerogative to reveal himself. Therefore, the Padma Purana says, Atashi Krishnamadi nabhaved grayam indriye sevan mukhihi jivado swayam eva spuratyada. That we can't understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead with our blunt material senses. But if we begin serving him with our tongues, then Krishna may reveal himself to us. And that is the, again, prerogative of the, somebody look up that word, please, of the unlimited to reveal himself to the limited. But the limited can't force his way into the realm of the unlimited and observe him. So the modern scientific methods are not effective in understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One has to take a different course of action. That is, one has to take to devotional service and become very humble. Go ahead. What is the meaning of prerogative? An exclusive special right, power, or privilege, such as one belonging to an office, an official body. Thank you, Alex. One belonging to a person, group, or class of individuals, one possessed by a nation as an attribute of sovereignty. Oh, could you put the word up too, please? And also, I just want to see the spelling. And Mukaravinda Prabhu put in that it's late Middle English, Old French from Latin, prerogativa, the verdict of the political division, which was, my goodness gracious, prerogative, a right or privilege or exclusive. Okay. The verdict of political division, which was chosen to vote first in the assembly, feminine used as a noun, prerogativus, asked first, from prai, before, and rogare, asked. You get the first ask. The Lord has the prerogative. Okay. So similarly, those who are protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be violated by anyone because they're using their gross senses, and whatever weapons the demons used on Prahlad Maharaj were not affected because he was protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's not understandable to those who are atheists. Text number 42. My dear King Yudhishthir, when all the attempts of the demons to kill Prahlad Maharaj were futile, the king of the demons, Hiranyakashipu, being most fearful, began contriving other means to kill him. Hiranyakashipu could not kill his son by throwing him beneath the feet of big elephants, throwing him among huge fearful snakes, employing destructive spells, hurling him from the top of a hill, conjuring up illusory tricks, administering poison, starving him, exposing him to severe cold, winds, fire, and water, or throwing heavy stones to crush him. When Hiranyakashipu found that he could not in any way harm Prahlad, who was completely sinless, he was in great anxiety about what to do next. Hiranyakashipu thought, I have used many ill names in chastising this boy Prahlad and have devised many means of killing him, but despite all my endeavors, he could not be killed. Indeed, he saved himself by his own powers, without being affected in the least by these treacheries and abominable actions. Although he is very near to me and is merely a child, he is situated in complete fearlessness. He resembles a dog's curved tail, which can never be straightened, because he never forgets my misbehavior and his connection with his master, Lord Vishnu. Purport: the word shuna means of a dog, and shepa means tail. The example is ordinary. However, one may try to straighten a dog's tail. It is never straight, but always curved. Shunashepa is also the name of the second son of Ajigartha. He was sold to Harishchandra, but he later took shelter of Vishvamrita, Harishchandra's enemy, and never left his side. 47. I can see that this boy's strength is unlimited, for he has not feared any of my punishments. He appears immortal. Therefore, because of my enmity toward him, I shall die. Or maybe this will not take place. Thinking in this way, the king of the Daitya's, morose and bereft of bodily luster, remained silent with his face downward. Then Shunda and Amarka, the two sons of Shukracharya, spoke to him in secret. O Lord, we know that when you simply move your eyebrows, all the commanders of the various planets are most afraid. Without the help of any assistant, you have conquered all the three worlds. Therefore, we do not find any reason for you to be morose and full of anxiety. As for Prahlad, he is nothing but a child and cannot be a cause of anxiety. After all, his bad or good qualities have no value. Until the return of our spiritual master, Shukracharya, arrest this child with the ropes of Varuna so that he will not flee in fear. In any case, by the time he is somewhat grown up and has assimilated our instructions or served our spiritual master, he will change in his intelligence. Thus, there need be no cause for anxiety. 51. After hearing these instructions of Shunda and Amarka, the sons of his spiritual master, Hiranyakashipu, agreed and requested them to instruct Prahlad in that system of occupational duty, which is followed by royal householder families. Wherefore, Hiranyakashipu wanted Prahlad Maharaj to be trained as a diplomatic king in ruling the kingdom, the country, or the world, but not to be advised about renunciation or the renounced order of life. The word dharma here does not refer to some religious faith. As clearly stated, dharmo hyasyo padeshtavo grajnanam yo grihamedinam. There are two kinds of royal families, one whose members are simply attached to household life, and the other consisting of rajarshis, kings who govern with ruling power, but are as good as great saints. Prahlad Maharaj wanted to become a rajarshi, whereas Hiranyakashipu wanted him to become a king attached to sense enjoyment, grihamedinam. Therefore, in the Aryan system, there is varnashrama dharma, by which everyone should be educated according to his position in society's division of varna, brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, and shudra, and ashrama, brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. A devotee purified by devotional service is always in the transcendental position above the mundane qualities. Thus, the difference between Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu was that Hiranyakashipu wanted to keep Prahlad in mundane attachment, whereas Prahlad was above the modes of material nature. As long as one is under the control of material nature, his occupational duty is different from that of a person not under such control. One's real dharma or occupational duty is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam, as described to his order carriers by Dharmaraj or Yamaraj. A living being is a spiritual identity, and therefore his occupational duty is also spiritual. The real dharma is that which is advised in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. One must give up one's material occupational duties, just as one must give up his material body. Whatever one's occupational duty, even according to the varnashrama system, one must give it up and engage in one's spiritual function. One's real dharma or occupational duty is explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jivera Swarupoi Krishnana Nityadas. Every living being is the eternal servant of Krishna. This is one's real occupational duty. Interesting, isn't it, that a materialistic father like Hiranyakashipu wants his son to be like he is. And Prabhupada used to note this, that although many young people came to him to join the Krishna consciousness movement, the parents oftentimes wanted them to come back to their materialistic ways, even if it included drug taking and things like that. In fact, there was a cartoon somewhere that was circulated about some kid who had joined the Hare Krishnas, and his parents are beseeching him, why can't you go back to taking drugs again? Anything but this. And Prabhupada notes that although one goes through life and tries very hard to be successful in the material world. And I'm not saying one shouldn't try hard or do one's duty while one has to. Still, there's an underlying understanding by those who are transcendentalists, which is symbolized by the syllables pa, pa, ba, ba, and ma, pavarga, which means that pa, which means that one has to work hard in order to maintain the status quo in the material world. And interestingly, even when one becomes very wealthy, it just becomes a new status quo. It's usually the case that even though people get great wealth, they still work very hard because they get used to a certain standard. Material life is like that. We get used to it, and then it's about the same for everybody. It evens out. It's not that because I have more material facility, I have greater happiness. Still, one has to keep working. And pa means finial, that I have to work so hard that foam comes from my mouth, just like a farm animal. Sometimes you see foam coming from its mouth when it's pulling a cart or some heavy object. Pa, pa, ba. Ba means barishrama, which means disappointment. That at the end, there's disappointing circumstances and the whole endeavor ultimately becomes a disappointment. If you follow it through far enough, it always ends up that way. And then pa means I'm fearful while I'm doing it because I could be lost at any time. I could be lost, my endeavors, my profits, and all that. I hope I'm not depressing anybody. I'm just checking the faces to make sure nobody looks depressed. Radhakripa Prabhu is okay. Manjula Kanta, Sukeshwari, everyone's smiling. You like this? Okay. And then ma means mrityu or death. At the end, death comes and takes it all away. So there's this phenomena called pavarga, which is the material world. And so those who are engaged like this grow up, they have children, and then they're defeated at the end. But then they want their child to follow in their footsteps and say, no, do as I've done. I'm not talking about spiritual parents. I'm talking about those who are dedicated to what Hiranyakashipu was dedicated to, was being a Griyameti, a Griyavrata. He has a vrat that I'm going to enjoy the material world no matter what. And then when he sees children trying to take the spiritual life, he becomes upset and says, no, do as I've done. Don't become this spiritual person. Or if you do, just do it at the end of your life for a few minutes and see if you can attain perfection. And in the meantime, don't give up onions and garlic, whatever you do. I mean, this clinging to the material world and insisting that it's got to work, even when it doesn't work, is a kind of insanity. So Prahlad Maharaj was up against that. And it's a classic stance of materialists to want everybody to do the same failed program that they did. And interestingly, with all this torture that's being mentioned here, we saw that within our own lifetime. When the Americans and Europeans started taking to Krishna consciousness, I actually don't know how much deprogramming took place in Europe, but in America, I was very aware of it. My parents, fortunately for me, were very open-minded, so they supported me, but a lot of devotees were kidnapped because their parents paid for somebody to drive by in a car, just grab them, throw them in the back, like you might see in one of those spy movies, and then take them to a safe house where they nailed shut all the doors and the person couldn't get out. And then basically just try to talk them out of Krishna consciousness. Only it was a kind of psychological and sometimes physical torture. They're so intent on this idea that one should follow the materialistic path. So we've seen it manifest even in the beginning of the Krishna consciousness movement. This kind of bad behavior of Hiranyakashipu, wanting everyone to be like him. So there's this great divide that Krishna talks about in the Bhagavad Gita, Yanisha Sarvabhutanam, that what is night for all beings, Tasyam Jagrati Samyami, for an enlightened person, that's a time of awakening, and vice versa. The person who's waking up sees everybody sleeping and thinks, oh, you're wasting your time. And the materialistic person thinks the spiritualist is wasting his or her time by practicing spiritual life. Dharmasya hyapavargasya, good to Seva. You can come up with these great verses. And let's see, anybody else? Okay, let's just see if there's any reflections or questions before I move on to the next part.
I just wanted to, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam.
Is that Bali?
Yes.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Bali Prabhu.
So I just like to thank you, our ISB youth team, Aprameya and Monisha, for taking care of the Zoom and learning and really doing a great job. That's likely Prahlad Maharaj Mercy. Thank you for appreciating their service. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Shraddha Devi Dasi, for taking time to train them up.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So one thing I was just thinking is that sometimes the sad part is parents think that they're doing good for the child, but they themselves don't know what is good for themselves and also for the child. Especially in my case, when I brought the first time the bead back to my home, my mom just grabbed it and threw it away, saying that this is all not for us. But then now, 25 years later, she says that if Krishna consciousness is not there, she would have gone mad. So how much like Krishna, like over time, proves that he's the well-wisher, both for both the parties.
Such a nice point, Gandharvika. And the thing is that the more we stick around Krishna consciousness, over a lifetime, we see how people change. Sometimes people take to devotional service very enthusiastically, and then they leave, and we think, oh, it must not be substantial, or it must be hard to take to. And then they come back later, if you give them enough time. Or we see it all the time. Some devotees who took to Krishna consciousness in the early 70s, and then, they practiced enthusiastically for a few years, and then they just disappeared. And they're just resurfacing now, saying like, hey, how is everybody after 50 years, And then we see also miracles happen all the time, where people who are against Krishna consciousness, even parents who have tried to dissuade their children, they take to it also. So this is part of maturing in Krishna consciousness, as watching how Krishna's mercy works over time. So that's helpful. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Let's see.
So,
yes, who is that? Okay. Please.
This is Devi Dasi.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I had a question, like, I've observed that sometimes, in many cases, starting from Prabhupada, there was a devotee there was a person who took him first time to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And then in my own case, my brother, he gave me the Bhagavad Gita as it is. And then, I took to Krishna consciousness. And so, and I think in your case too, you mentioned one of your friends brought you the Back to God magazine. So Krishna uses instruments to, bring souls to him. But why don't these instruments themselves take up to Krishna consciousness? They were so fortunate to get the first connection.
Well, again, you have to hang around long enough. How do you know they won't? So, we've seen it oftentimes, and if it's not this lifetime, it'll be another lifetime. People take to Krishna consciousness enthusiastically in this lifetime because somehow they've had contact in their last lifetime. And we may, be around to see it in this lifetime. And we hear about it many, many times. So, Richie, my Vartmana Pradakshika guru calls me every once in a while. Richie Corsi called me a few months ago before the COVID thing. And, just to say, and he always says Hare Krishna, and he always, is really enthusiastic about it. And if somebody's chanting in that in Namabas, he's very enthusiastic. He says if I never do anything good in my life, and I probably won't, I did one good thing. and I brought you to Hare Krishna. I mean, if somebody thinks like that, why won't the holy name, give them some special accommodation, So we just have to wait and see. It happens at different times for different people.
Okay, Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I also wanted to just mention that, as Gandhavika Mataji said, I think many of us have had, so much of, negativity, or no, don't do this. This is not something you need to do now. You have to do it when you're 50. This is too early for you. You're not even married. My parents thought I was actually going to take sannyas when I was in college. So it's funny because even Indian families, they don't know that this is something, that's really good. And I would always chant without letting them know, go to friend's house and chant and things like that. But I was thinking that after all these years, now they realize that this is the best thing a person can do. But they have not taken it too seriously, but at least they appreciate what I do. But I was just thinking that it doesn't matter where you are, there are always people, they don't really get it.
Well, this is the nature of a parent. Parents become very attached to their children. And we can see that in the case of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his brother who was elder, and he was a brilliant, great scholar. And he used to go and associate with Advaita Acharya because it was the only place that he found solace in hearing from a Vaishnava, a senior Vaishnava, who was actually preaching about Krishna Bhakti. Everything else annoyed him. Everything, the way people were carrying on in Navadvip, he was just disgusted with the state of the world. And then he listened more and more to Advaita Acharya. Then he decided to take sannyas, especially when he heard his parents talking about getting him married. So he left. And later on, when Nimai was associating more and more with Advaita Acharya, then someone had mentioned Advaita Acharya's name, and Mother Sachi said, he is not Advaita, he is Dvaita. Because she was angry that he had preached to his son and made him leave, and now he was nervous. She was nervous that Nimai would leave also and take sannyas. And for that, when Mahaprabhu was performing his Mahaprakash, everyone said, give pure love of God to Mother Sachi. He said, I will not give. She has offended a Vaishnava. I said, how's that possible? And he said, she made an aparad to Advaita Acharya, and I cannot forgive her. Only if she takes the dust from the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya can she be forgiven. So all the devotees went to Advaita Acharya and they told him. And he said, what, are you trying to kill me? He said, this is impossible. She had the power to bear the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mahaprabhu, within her womb. How could she make an offense to me? It's not possible. So they all brought Mother Sachi to see Advaita Acharya. And Advaita Acharya was meditating on her exalted qualities. In fact, Vrindavan Das Thakur says, if anyone even says her name, Ai, just accidentally says Ai, then that person will get all spiritual credits. So when Advaita Acharya was meditating on her exalted quality in ecstasy, he fainted. And that's the opportunity that she took to take the dust from his lotus feet and put it on her head. And then Mahaprabhu said, now she's forgiven and she can have pure love of God. So you just see Sachi Mata, she was constantly worried about her children like that. So there's this affection that parents have for their children. But the fact is that when the child stays in Krishna consciousness, the best thing that you can do for your parents, because either later on they'll become devotees by watching you, and everyone comes to a point in their life where they realize, I don't think I can beat this material nature. It doesn't look as good, when you're 30 or 40 or 50 as bad when you're 30 or 40, 50, than when you're getting into 60, 70, 80, and then you start realizing, what did I do? And what did my child do? He or she was smart, and they can change. Either that, or if they don't, which happens sometimes, we find out at the end of this pastime that the Lord gives benedictions to the family members, regardless when the child becomes a pure devotee. So that's helpful also. And a good incentive to stay in the game. Thank you very much, Sukeshwar. Okay, let's see. We have from Govinda, says, regarding parents not liking their children to take to Krishna consciousness, I got reminded what you mentioned a few days ago, that Prahlad Maharaj had a principle of non-cooperation with his father, but yet he was tolerant and humble. It was very powerfully instructive. Yes, good point. And there was one Vrana Venkat Prabhu gave us the verse from the Veda base. Divyanga Prabhu says, Krishnera samsara koro chari anachar, jiva doi krishnanam sarva dharmasar. Thank you, Divyanga Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Any other reflections?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
So I remember in the Mangalacharana we were reading, and in the translation of Srinvatam Sakata Krishna, this one line really caught my attention. It is about when the line says, even after people have chanted, when they still have material desires in their heart, right? Hridayantastha Abhadrani, Krishna will take it away from them by continuous chanting and hearing. So that one really stuck, because even after I've at least attempted to try to chant and hear, I still have material desires. And so hearing that gives me faith that they'll eventually go away.
Yeah, that's why the two policemen in Delhi one day were walking down the street of the neighborhood, and one of them was saying, you know, it's interesting, we're trying to keep thieves away from here, but Krishna, our Ishta Deva, he's a thief. He's known as a thief for stealing so many things. And the other one said, yes, it's true. These householders here, they put chains on their gates and they put up high walls so no one will go in and steal their stuff. And we do that around our hearts also. He said, so it's a good thing that Krishna's the most expert thief. Even though I try to hold on to everything, still he's so expert that he can find his way there to pass the gates into the realm of our heart and steal these anarthas away. But it's best if we give him permission. Not that he needs permission, but if we make a plea that Krishna, please take these things, then it's a heart-rending kind of a process that we're giving this acknowledgement that I'm asking Krishna to take away the obstacles that I'm so intent on holding on to. Thank you very much, Apra. That was a nice reflection. And here we are from Sudeep. Sometimes if there is an opposition, there is a determination to practice Krishna consciousness, but when it comes easily, we don't have that much appreciation. That's from Shamrup. Yeah, as I see that within the Leela of Krishna in the Rasa dance, there's a way in which those gopis who were held back from meeting Krishna in the Rasa Leela got complete purification because their anxiety level went so high that they couldn't go. They were being held back. And then the acharyas explained through the intensity of desire that created, they became completely perfect. Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Oh, Hare Krishna Mukharvind. There at Govardhan Hill. Go right ahead.
Sorry?
I said, I'm good to see you at Govardhan Hill. I wish I was there with you.
It's by your mercy only, Maharaj. So text 50 says that I really like the verse because in that it says that when Sandana Marka was describing that particular line, I'll read. In any case, by the time he is somewhat grown up and has assimilated our instruction or serve our spiritual master, he will change in his intelligence. So even I always wonder like how the asuras, they also know the secret that by serving the spiritual master, that whole knowledge can get assimilated and can get. So I was reminded of Bhagavad Gita verse where it says like. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasthena sevaya, how the importance of service is there. By serving only we can assimilate knowledge. And so they were very sure that Sandana Marka, that if they serve their spiritual master, Prahlad may change his mind. So
Yeah.
just,
Yeah, because that was a known, that was such an important part of the culture. Everyone knew that. And we see also at the incident where Indra disrespects his spiritual master, Brihaspati, that Indra then realized his mistake because Brihaspati came into the assembly where Indra was being worshipped, and then Indra didn't acknowledge his guru. And then Brihaspati realized right away that Indra had become puffed up. And then he just disappeared. He turned around and left, and he was gone, nowhere to be found. And then Indra then suddenly snapped out of it and realized that he had made an offense, but he couldn't find his guru. And that's when all the woes came to the demigods. So that's made very strong point there in that section of the Bhagavatam that was the demise of the demigods' power. Meanwhile, it says that the demons were worshiping Shukracharya. By the process of worshiping their guru, they became more and more strong. So that culture is there. It was there at the time, and everyone understood, how that worked. So yeah, it's an interesting point you bring up. Thank you.
Guru Maharaj, how does this concept of an evil guru work? I mean, a guru is one who takes you on the path of enlightenment. So a guru like Shukracharya, what is he doing, and how is he worshipable?
Well, he's I think he's mentioned in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita and elsewhere. Shukracharya has been around long time. Well, he's the fact is that he's mentioned as a Kuli guru. He's like a family kind of a guru, and there are these a genre of kinds of gurus. People worship them to get success in material life, not spiritual. Same principle is there, but the fact is that the motive is wrong. And some gurus are like that. In fact, it's very common, as you know, that there's a guru by ancestry that's not completely qualified, but then has this there's all the trappings of worshiping the guru go on, the trappings of the guru and so forth, but the motive is wrong. But the principle there of worshiping the guru remains. So with Shukracharya, the principle of deriving power from a higher source who's channeling it down is still there, but they're just getting something materialistic. Instead of when you get a Vaishnava guru or a pure devotee guru, the idea is that you're getting Krishna's mercy because you don't want any material thing.
But isn't it an offense for the guru not to give them Krishna consciousness or clear understanding? Does he not take offense by teaching them the wrong things?
Yeah, well, such a person would also be wrong-headed. It doesn't mean that, they're thinking that I'm doing the wrong thing. They're thinking they're doing the right thing. Either that or they're greedy, they can't see anything. And it could become a profession, just to be in that role. So one is prohibited from doing that. The guru, as you said, is supposed to actually present Krishna consciousness so that Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta Jignasu Shreya Uttamam Shabde Brahmita Nishnatam Brahman Upashamashayam. A guru is supposed to be steeped in transcendental knowledge and have no attachment to the material world.
Thank you, Maharaj. That's very nice.
Okay. So we have till 6:15. Is that correct?
Yes, Maharaj.
That's correct. Okay. Where did I leave off? Aprame.
I think it was 52. We're on 52.
We're starting up at 52?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. Thereafter, Shanda and Amarka systematically and unceasingly taught Prahlad Maharaj, who was very submissive and humble about mundane religion, economic development, and sense gratification. Purport. There are 4 processes for human society: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, and they culminate in liberation. Human society must follow a process of religion to advance. And on the basis of religion, one should try to develop his economic condition so that he can fulfill his needs for sense gratification according to the religious rules and regulations. Then liberation from material bondage will be easier to attain. That is the Vedic process. When one is above the stages of dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, one becomes a devotee. Then he is on the platform from which he is guaranteed not to fall again to material existence. Yadgat varna nivartante. As advised in Bhagavad Gita, if one transcends these four processes and is actually liberated, one engages in devotional service, then he is guaranteed not to fall to material existence. Just more comment on this point about the guru and who's offering some materialistic benediction, Manjula Kanta. So yeah, just take the verse down for a second so we can see everybody. So you'll notice in the Gita, Krishna says, Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunya Bavarjana, Nirdvanvo Nityasatvasto, Niryoga Shema Atmavan. He says in the Vedas, the three Vedas, he mentions that there are prescriptions there for materialistic endeavors. They're in the three modes of material nature. In fact, there are so many Karmakanda sections there. These entail a certain kind of technology. In fact, if you look back at the system, the Vedic system, it's almost as if when you do these fire yagas, they have to be perfectly mathematically symmetrical. In fact, that's according to mathematical history, geometry emanates from these yagyas that were done, Vedic yagyas, because the fire pit had to be exactly right, exactly. And the priest had to sit in the exact place. The incantation had to be, the tones had to be exactly right. So what this is really, it's a kind of algorithm or a technology, you know, the kind of thing like where you put up a, maybe like an icon for a zip file. And from that zip file, you know, you click on it and then you're getting infinite information. It's a channel really that opens up to a higher kind of energy. And so, you know, Vedic sacrifices also, besides being laid out in an exact form, because it's like, if you're doing any work in IT, it's got to be exact. There's Dhamma Vilas Prabhu was showing us how in one of the companies he started, they put in a lot of money into some particular chip. And one of the engineers was off by, you know, a 10,000th of a, you know, whatever the measurements are in the diagram. And then the whole thing didn't work. Memory was leaking out of the chip. It didn't work. So same thing, when these Vedic sacrifices go off, there has to be an exact setup according to the Vedic process. The mantra has to be just right. As we know, you know, you mispronounce one syllable, and instead of getting, you know, Vritrasura, who's going after Indra, Indra's going to go after Vritrasura. You know, you got your code wrong there. This is code. This is ancient technology. It actually works. And so in the process, you know, you have a priest. There's a Ritvik there that actually sits there and does, I'm not advocating some Ritvik philosophies. This is actually a term that comes from the Vedic system, where there's a priest that sits there and actually does the right thing. It's like an engineer. You see, so, you know, this idea of how energies are channeled through a guru, through a Ritvik and all this kind of stuff, you know, this is from an ancient technology that was there. People don't understand it nowadays. They intuit it in many ways, but they don't understand exactly what it is or how that subtle science works, but it's all there in the Vedic process. Does that give more light to you about that? And then of course, you know, when you're dealing with spiritual science, it's the same principle, only you're receiving purified knowledge that's coming from Krishna through the parampara, through the guru. And that's Krishna's technology. That's why he advises it and sets it up. And there's a way in which, you know, one divyam jnanam yato dadyat kuryat papas sangshayam tasmat dikshes saprokta deshikais tatvakovidai. Intelligent people know this process as divyam jnanam, or receiving diksha, which includes not only getting reliable spiritual information from your guru, but also receiving a mantra. And within that mantra, there's power because it's coming down through the channel, you see, and it's passed down. And if the mantra is coming down through the right channel, and the guru is giving it to you with this right intention, and you take it with the right intention, then you're being channeled. It opens up that channel to the spiritual world. Golokera prema dana harinama sankirtana.
That's my zip file.
There's your zip file.
Thank you, Maharaj. So nice. That was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So that, these Vedic principles are all, you can see them intact. And so if it's materialistic endeavor or a spiritual endeavor, you still need a guru. And it's not some sentimental thing. It's actually technology, so to speak. Channeling right to the spiritual world or wherever you want to go. That's the idea. Okay, we have time for one or two more questions or a reflection. Actually, just one more question because we're going to sing one more bhajan.
There's some questions in the comment section, Mark.
We do? Okay, let's see what we got here. Devavrata Prabhu said he liked the explanation of apavarga. It seems like understanding futility of the material world helps the devotees cultivate eagerness for Krishna. If that sambandha is missing or weak, it makes it very difficult to take the ultimate goal seriously. Spoken like a true brahmachari. Yanisha Sarvabhutanam. Oh, I see. There's more down here. I was wondering, how did your parents react? And why do you think they were so open? I've realized why they were so open. I had some good karma from my last life. It was Krishna's arrangement. He opened the door for me. Otherwise, I'm a fallen, useless living entity, but Krishna gave me some mercy, that's all. Otherwise, how could I have been born in the Bay Area, right where Prabhupada was going to come the second time, and then have parents who said, hey, if you'd like to become a Hare Krishna monk and forego going to, finishing your high school, then please help yourself. That was Krishna's hand directly in my life to give such a fallen person an opportunity to, and somehow, I don't know. So, and their reaction was, they were obviously, they wanted me to, just stay home and become whatever. But they saw that wasn't happening and they gave me full facility. And in the end, both of them, my mother got initiated and my father was, he had dementia at the end, but he was still chanting and doing all kinds of stuff like that. I have videos of him chanting Nitai Gauranga, before he left. So they got the result of that. Anyway, enough of that. Govinda, repair. Did I go too far down?
I think there's a question by Shri Kumar Prabhu.
Where is that question? Shri Kumar Prabhu says, we were talking about young adults taking up Krishna consciousness, their parents objecting to it, and children hid and became more trained devotees. How to handle the opposite, please, if it all happens. Krishna conscious parents who have young children getting into adulthood, that children take to material life and think my parents know nothing about other than spiritual life and hide and do things which take them away from Krishna consciousness. How is this to be nicely handled, please? Well, the way to handle it nicely, one way is to understand that each living entity has his or her own volition. First of all, we don't own our children and we do the best we can. If even Maharaj Anga, who is a pure devotee in his own right, Prabhupada said, could have a child like Vena, then anybody can have a child that rejects Krishna consciousness. So we can't guarantee anything. And it could be, as Anga, it's mentioned Anga, then he, out of disgust for the material world, after trying so hard, he gave up and just became detached from his kingdom and everything else. And Prabhupada mentions it was Krishna's arrangement for him. So for his purification. So one way to handle it nicely is to take a little detachment pill and be understanding when things don't go your way. That's one thing. And another thing is to just set a good example and do the best you can throughout the youth of your child. And then he or she will notice your dedication, and it'll come to bear at some point in his or her life. So those are, sort of obvious things, but they do work. Okay, so we're going to sing one more bhajan before we move on tonight. By Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Radha Krishna bol bol, bolo re shobai. Radha Krishna bol, bolo re shobai. Hey, Shika diya, Nadia. Neche neche kornita shika diya shadnariya neche neche kornita haribo boro re shika diya haribo Chacho beshe, kacho habudu, che mayar boshe, chacho beshe, kacho habudu, haribo, bolo re che mayar boshe, haribo. Shubha Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Jai Go, Hari Bo, Jai Go, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Thank you, everybody, for coming together for Krishna Katha. And we read from Bhagavatam and we chanted Hare Krishna. So we did the right thing. Spiritual prophet.
Hare Krishna.
So thank you, everyone, for joining. And keep the vibration going.
Hare Krishna.
And everyone, could you unmute and please say Hare Krishna?
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
From you're coming, this background is coming from that side. Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Hare
Prabhuji.
Bo.
Hare Krishna.
Everything came.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Aprime. Thank you, Manisha. Thank you, Shraddha Mataji.